What's up guys, the Strong Boys 19 here. This is part 2 of my top 18 albums of 2014. So this is my list on the top 10 of my favourites of the year. I do apologise that I didn't do this much more earlier, but I'm here to do it, so let's not waste any more time. Number 10 we have Mastodon's Once More Round the Sun. Once More Round the Sun is a very different album for Mastodon because at some songs they do bring like a hard rock type of sound for some of the tracks, but the progressive metal elements are still there. The songwriting is mostly great, the drumming's fantastic, the artwork is outstanding, and some really unique sounded production on here as well. So Once More Round the Sun will never disappoint you if you are a big Mastodon fanatic. Number 9 is Alestorm's Sunset on the Golden Age. Sunset on the Golden Age is an album that you would expect from Alestorm once again, that is full of energy, catchy and fun to listen to, and I do love Alestorm for that, and they did it once again with this album, and on some songs they did try out some things new for their sound which is unique, and I'd say most of the songs on the album just nailed it from Alestorm's music. So this is another really great, strong album from Alestorm once again. Number 8 is Sail with Aura. Aura is a really great album. It brings the heavy aggression, at the same time it brings atmosphere, and that's why I love it. And at some points they do contain like a more of a quieter, beautiful, folky type of sound, and it really does remind me of Echoes of Battle from Caladan Brood, and this album came out from the same record label as Caladan Brood's debut, Northern Silence Productions. So if you are into that type of stuff, Aura will never disappoint you. Number 7 is Hatriot, Dawn of the New Centurion. Dawn of the New Centurion is an album that you would expect from these guys once again. Some of the songs on the album are quite different from each other, but nonetheless this album is just as awesome and amazing like their debut album. Steve Zetro Souza's vocals are great once again, the production is really good, and the songs themselves are just the same fun, catchy, thrashy songs that just never stops from being aggressive. So Dawn of the New Centurion is another great album from Hatriot. Number 6. This album definitely deserved to be in the list, and it is the Ronnie James Dio tribute cover album This Is Your Life. Whoever came up with the idea for it is phenomenal. These are the bands and the artists that made these covers to praise one of the greatest vocalists of all time, and Ronnie James Dio is such a huge, major influence to many metal musicians around the world, and I do idolise Ronnie James Dio myself, and if you are a big Dio fanatic, I strongly recommend this album, and I'm so proud that I did review this album in the honour of Ronnie James Dio. And now we're into the top 5. Number 5 is Machine Head, Bloodstone and Diamonds. Bloodstone and Diamonds is an album that is really aggressive, punchy, catchy, and it's technical at some points as well. Thrash metal with groove metal put together is phenomenal from Machine Head. I think they're just one of the best modern metal bands ever. Sounds like half of The Blackening and half of Under the Locust, put them all together, boom, one big explosion of new creativity, new songs, and the same 100% anger from Machine Head. And it's just another phenomenal album from Machine Head once again, and definitely check it out. Number 4 is Slipknot, Point 5, The Grey Chapter. Now, Slipknot with this album bring back the heavy roots like their first 2 albums. They do contain like a softer All Hope Is Gone-esque type of sound, but most of the songs on the album are different for what they've become from Slipknot's new, simple, but intriguingly, catchy songwriting. That's my opinion. And the production on the album is really good. The mixing is the little flaw, but it didn't spoil the album entirely for me. The songs themselves are just, like I said, different from each other, but they are aggressive, and Slipknot are just back with vengeance. And since I'm just that typical of myself being a massive Slipknot fan, I love the album. So Point 5, The Great Chapter, is another really strong, near perfect album from Slipknot. Number 3 is Grand Mega's Triumph and Power. Triumph and Power, I'd say, is the catchiest album of the year, because Grand Mega's music is simple, but it is really catchy and easy to listen to. And the sounds are like half of old school heavy metal and doom metal, put them all together. The songs themselves are just, like I said, that's simple, but the band themselves completely nailed it right up to the top. And the vocals are amazing, the production is fantastic, and this is just one of the catchiest metal albums I have heard since I got into metal. So yeah, really great album from Grand Magus. Number 2, Trypticon Melana Chasmata. This is an album that I could not put into many different words. It is heavy, brutal, dark, deep. It's such a monstrous, powerful album from start to finish. Thomas G. Warrior is a talented and creative singer-songwriter. Everything from the album is near perfection, from the songwriting to the artwork to the creativity to the musicianship and just to everything else that Trypticon has done. And it is really technical, and it's just full of non-stop anger, and it's just creativity, So, Melana Chasmata from Trypticon will never ever disappoint you if you love that type of stuff. So, this is a strong recommendation of an album from me to you guys. So yeah, Melana Chasmata from Trypticon is just a really strong, outstanding album. And now we've come to number 1, my favourite album of 2014. And I know it's one of the obvious picks, but the album definitely deserved to be in the list, and I'm glad that it was Metal Hammer's Metal Album of the Year. Behemoth's The Satanist. Behemoth with this album, oh my gosh. It's just the same opinions I would give like Trypticon's new album. The songwriting is powerful, intense, just completely mind-blowing. The fantastic production, the vocals, the drumming, the guitar riffs, the blackened death metal and black metal elements are still here from Behemoth's sound and style. It's just definitely, in my opinion, one of the best modern metal albums. Like Melana Chasmata from Trypticon, this is just an album that I could, go on for some time. And it's just an album that is just that praised a lot. I knew why the album had to be one of the top favourite albums of 2014. So I'm just really proud that The Satanist really made it as the contender for the album of the year for me. So, The Satanist from Behemoth, my number one album of 2014, bar none, period. So that's it, guys. That is my top 10 of my favorite albums of 2014 out of the top 18. Let me know what you guys think of these albums in the comments below. And my first 2015 review will be the new Napalm Death album, Apex Predator Easy Meat. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, keep it metal.